Welcome back to the Crime Documentary Files channel. Today we'll be exploring a tragic story about Korean-American twin sisters named Sunny Han and Gina Han. They were born on April 4, 1974, with Sunny arriving just 5 minutes before Gina. In Asian culture, this 5-minute difference isn't just about birth order. It carries deep meaning regarding responsibilities and roles within the family. The older sister, even if only by a few minutes, is expected to shoulder more responsibility in caring for and looking after the family. However, fate seemed to have different plans for these twins. When the sisters were just 3 years old, their family fell apart. After their parents divorced, Sunny went with their mother, while Gina stayed with their father. Not long after, their father remarried and left the burden of raising 6 children, including the twins and 4 other siblings, to his ex-wife. The weight of life bore heavily on the unfortunate mother. To provide for her brood, she took on various jobs, from bartending to dating multiple men. The stress of caring for so many children at once overwhelmed her. She was forced to work as a bartender, doing all sorts of jobs, and even dating various men. Eventually, the unstable lifestyle led her into a spiral of addiction and gambling. Sunny and Gina went through periods when their parents were absent for days. They had to fend for themselves when there wasn't enough food in the fridge, while also taking on the responsibility of caring for their siblings. These children essentially grew up under the negligence of their parents. However, it seemed that from a young age, their mother favored Sunny more because she was the firstborn. Despite their difficult circumstances, Sunny and Gina maintained a miraculous connection. When one fell ill, the other could sense it, and sometimes even experience the same symptoms. They were like 2 reflecting mirrors, bound by the invisible thread of sisterly love. When Sunny and Gina were 12, their mother decided to move to America. She brought the whole family to the U.S. hoping for a fresh start. They settled in Seattle for a year, but history repeated itself. Their mother once again fell into the cycle of gambling and addiction. Realizing she couldn't care for her children, she contacted relatives in California, asking them to take in the twin sisters. Once again, Sunny and Gina had to face fear and uncertainty, trying to survive in a strange land. In this new and challenging environment, the sisters could only rely on each other to overcome the difficulties ahead. After moving to California to live with relatives, the sisters quickly adapted to their new life. For the first time in their lives, they felt they could live a stable life, without worrying about tomorrow. Although they felt some envy towards their well-off relatives, everyone always treated them fairly, helping them feel loved and cared for while living there. According to Gina, whenever their mother visited, she made Gina feel inferior to her sister Sunny. Their mother still thought Sunny would be more mature and responsible towards the family. But in reality, both sisters were very intelligent. They proved this by becoming co-valedictorians of their high school, meaning both had outstanding academic achievements. Their uncle said the twin sisters had a healthy competition, growing and progressing together. Sunny and Gina had different personalities and life goals. Sunny, true to her name, always radiated with a bright smile and friendly personality. She quickly became the center of attention at school with her beauty and excellent communication skills, attracting many friends. She seemed to be the prettier one of the twin sisters. Other relatives noted that Gina was also very intelligent, but she had to study much harder than her sister. Life didn't seem as easy for her as it was for Sunny. She was a bit shy, quiet, and hard to approach. Sunny, on the other hand, always seemed to have everything before Gina. She was the first of the 2 to have a boyfriend, the first to have a part-time job, and many other firsts. All siblings have arguments, and that's normal. But the fights between these twin sisters became incredibly bad when they were 15. At that time, Sunny used a pen or some sharp object to poke Gina, and their argument turned extremely violent and tense. There were always exchanges of words, with Sunny frequently saying, "I'm older, so I have more to say," to assert her position. This rivalry seemed endless, and Sunny appeared to always be the winner in this invisible competition. On the surface, they seemed like a happy family, but the reality was completely different. Cracks began to appear in their senior year of high school, when Sunny was suddenly kicked out of her aunt and uncle's house. The reason might have stemmed from the tense relationship between them and the twins' mother. The aunt had told the twin sisters that they weren't allowed to contact their mother, possibly due to her gambling addiction or other reasons. Once, the aunt discovered Sunny trying to write a letter to her mother and became furious, even though it wasn't reasonable at all. Sunny also said that her aunt had mental health issues as she drank alcohol excessively. Sunny was kicked out of the house when she was 17. In her final year of high school, she had to rely on the help of kind neighbors. This situation once again reflected the painful reality. The two sisters seemed unable to find peace within their own family. Conflicts and friction constantly occurred, not only with relatives but also between the two of them. Despite the difficulties and challenges, Sunny and Gina continued to excel in their studies. The result of their efforts was high school diplomas with outstanding achievements for both. It seemed that after so many storms, a new horizon full of promise was opening up before them. With her talent and effort, Sunny won a full scholarship to college, a precious opportunity for her to continue her education and build a future. Meanwhile, Gina made a different choice. Realizing that an academic environment might not suit her, she decided to join the U.S. Air Force, which can be considered a significant turning point in her life. Sunny's college life initially seemed promising, but soon after, she began to fall into a cycle of unhealthy relationships. She gradually got caught up in endless parties, neglecting her studies. At the same time, she developed a habit of extravagant spending, becoming obsessed with luxury items she had never dared to dream of before. As a result, Sunny's grades plummeted. Eventually, her grades became so poor that her scholarship was revoked, and she had to drop out. To maintain her lifestyle, she had to find a part-time job. Meanwhile, Gina was facing her own difficulties in the military. She felt unable to adapt to the strict disciplinary environment and rigorous training. Desperate to escape as soon as possible, Gina lied that her father was ill to get out. But with the U.S. Air Force, leaving wasn't easy. However, Gina then lied about being a lesbian, and finally, she was discharged from the military. Those who had contact with Gina noted that while she was very intelligent academically, she lacked the skills to face challenges and difficulties in real life. After leaving the military, Gina found a job as a dealer in a casino. Unfortunately, this environment quickly led her to fall into a gambling addiction, betting more and more in hopes of recovering her losses. As a result, Gina sank into a mountain of ever-increasing debt. Gina's debt grew beyond her ability to pay. In desperation, she began to deceive even her closest relatives. Shockingly, the amount of money Gina stole from her aunt and uncle reached $40,000. She didn't stop there, but also forged checks and stole credit cards to manage her debts. The consequence of her criminal actions was a sentence of 10 days in jail and 3 years of probation. It seems that her experiences led Gina to develop a compulsive personality. Whenever she got angry, Gina would immediately try to destroy something or act extremely recklessly. Those around her observed that Gina always tried to achieve her goals by manipulating and lying to others. When they were around 20 or 22 years old, Sunny realized that her sister was in difficult circumstances. One day she received a call from Gina asking, "Can I come and stay with you?" Without hesitation, Sunny immediately agreed. Notably, before this point, the sisters had hardly been in contact since graduating high school. They only talked or texted a few times a year, as each was busy with their own life. When Gina reunited with her twin sister after a long time, she saw that Sunny was living a life completely opposite to her own. Sunny owned luxurious designer items, lived in a beautiful apartment in a prime location, and drove an expensive car. Even as adults, Gina still felt somehow inferior to her sister, but in reality, Sunny's life wasn't as glamorous as it appeared on the surface. Sunny was also caught up in a pile of debt, facing legal troubles due to her addiction to this lavish lifestyle, a life she couldn't afford. Eventually, Sunny stole credit cards from her friends to maintain a lifestyle she thought was on par with her wealthy friends. Strangely, although the twin sisters had been separated since graduation, they led eerily similar lifestyles. Their way of facing life's difficulties was also surprisingly alike. Both sought to escape reality, and avoid confronting their own problems. Since Gina moved in with Sunny, their relationship deteriorated terribly, with their arguments becoming increasingly tense. They argued about many issues, from trivial matters like who wore whose clothes, who made a mess in the bathroom, to who would do the dishes. At one point, Gina stole Sunny's BMW and disappeared for a few days. When she returned, Sunny was furious with her sister's actions. Neighbors recall having to call the police because the twins argued so much. They even physically fought, with Sunny throwing a phone at Gina, breaking her nose and causing it to bleed profusely. When the police were called, Sunny was arrested. She wasn't arrested for hitting her sister, but because her friend had called to report her for credit card theft and using illegal funds to pay for her lavish lifestyle. Ironically, when arrested, Sunny said, "I didn't think my friend would notice the credit card, she's rich." Sunny was eventually convicted and given probation. It seemed that neither twin showed any remorse or felt guilty about what they had done. Sunny, in particular, acted as if everything she did was no big deal. Gina, on the other hand, grew even angrier because Sunny had broken her nose, and since her sister wasn't around, Gina thought she could live her sister's life, using her car, credit card identity, and money to indulge in shopping and gambling. Because they were identical twins, no one realized Gina was using her sister's identity. She recklessly charged thousands of dollars under Sunny's name. When Sunny was released and discovered this, she immediately flew into a rage. She said she would never forgive Gina. Sunny reported Gina, who was sentenced to 6 months in jail, and ordered to repay $10,000. Moreover, Gina's ex-boyfriend also reported her to the police for stealing and forging checks under his name. The story of these twin sisters gave headaches to anyone who witnessed or knew about it, due to their endless cycle of retaliation. They only blamed each other to justify their own miserable and terrible lives. The tension peaked when Gina was in jail and called her sister. According to Sunny, Gina was actually very kind, seeming to want them to forgive each other and start over. Gina said she really needed to get her belongings back from Sunny's apartment. But Sunny admitted that at that time, her mood was terrible. She was still very angry with Gina, and on top of that, she was having problems with her boyfriend. Waking up and receiving a call from Gina made her mood even worse. She yelled into the phone at Gina, saying she would never get her stuff back and to never call her again. She also told Gina that she wasn't allowed to return to the apartment and should take care of herself. At this point, Gina felt abandoned by her own family, fostering hatred towards her sister. She unintentionally told her fellow inmates that she hated her sister so much she wanted her to disappear from this world. Perhaps Gina's words were just a slip of the tongue in a moment of intense disgust and anger towards her sister. However, when she was released, these negative emotions were no longer just haunting thoughts. They had developed into a dark intention, a dangerous plan she called getting rid of her sister. In the process of finding accomplices for her plan, Gina noticed 2 teenagers, Archie Bryant, 16, and John Sayareth, 15. Both were seemingly well-behaved kids, but grew up in difficult family circumstances. Recognizing this weakness, Gina skillfully exploited it, promising a large sum of money if they helped her complete the plan. Gina said that when they helped her finish the job, they would receive a substantial amount of money. To these 2 teenagers, Gina appeared as an image of strength and power. Fresh out of jail, she carried an air of mystery and danger that attracted them. Gina's subtle manipulation worked, creating a strange bond between the 3. Perhaps deep down, they shared something in common, maybe loneliness, dissatisfaction with life, or a desire for recognition. Initially, the agreement was that if these 2 teenagers helped Gina retrieve her belongings from her sister's house, each would receive $100. It seemed that with this agreement, no plan to kill her sister was outlined. However, Gina had skillfully planted dark seeds in the minds of these naive teenagers. The 2 teens simply thought they would break into Sunny's house, intimidate her a little, and get Gina's belongings, then escape in the car. But as they were driving to Sunny's apartment, Gina asked them if they had ever hurt anyone before. She mentioned that there were many Asian gangs in the area, which was why she needed them, and a gun. Gina even asked if they had ever wanted to take someone's life before. Of course the two boys said they never had and didn't want to do such a thing. Undeterred, Gina said their plan now was to tie up everyone in the apartment, as Sunny lived with her friends. They only needed to tie Sunny up and leave her there, because Gina herself would be the one to send her sister to heaven. Clearly, Archie and John had been drawn into a situation far beyond their initial intentions. In their immature minds they only wanted to intimidate and complete the task to get paid and disappear. But now they are facing a much darker scenario. On the way to Sunny's apartment, they bought large garbage bags, duct tape, gloves, cleaning supplies, and other items. They also had a gun. All of these were to be used for their plan. On November 16, 1996, they drove to Sunny's apartment, where she lived with two other roommates. First, Archie pretended to be a magazine salesman and knocked on Sunny's door. One of the roommates refused and closed the door. The two teenagers were anxious and didn't know what to do next. At this moment, Gina's controlling hand intervened, guiding them to return and implement Plan B, a much more dangerous and bold plan. So they returned once more. This time the two teenagers were armed with guns when they knocked. Another roommate, Helen Kim, opened the door. Immediately after, Archie burst into the apartment. As Helen Kim screamed, she was tied up and gagged with duct tape. During this time, Sunny was in the bathroom. When she heard her friend screaming, she quickly grabbed her phone and locked herself in the room. Sunny tried to call the police while Archie was attempting to break down the door. Finally he broke through, then tied and gagged Sunny. Archie pointed the gun at her and threatened that if she screamed or tried to escape, he would shoot immediately. At this point, Sunny and her friend thought this was just a terrible robbery happening to them. The girls said that Archie and John could take whatever they wanted. Then Archie shouted to John, "Everything's ready, call Gina." For Sunny, hearing Gina's name was like a bolt of lightning. How could Gina, her sister who was supposed to be in jail, be involved in this horrifying situation? Fortunately, the police were nearby and arrived at the scene shortly after. When Archie heard the police cars approaching, he panicked and loosened the bindings and gags on the girls. He told them to tell the police that this was all just a prank gone too far. Gina and John were equally panicked, not knowing what to do, so they pretended they had just stopped by and didn't know what was happening. They left Archie behind to be arrested by the police. With their rental car, Gina and John knew they could be tracked, so they tried to buy another car but failed. Eventually they returned to the rental car company to exchange the vehicle. By this time, there was a warrant out for Gina's arrest. The police knew she might use Sunny's identity for transactions. The car rental company discovered this and called the police. Gina and John were subsequently arrested. When arrested, Gina even claimed she was Sunny, not Gina, in an attempt to mislead the police. But these lies were clearly useless in the face of what she had done. Archie's testimony made the situation even more serious. He confirmed that the entire plan was devised by Gina, with the ultimate goal of making her sister disappear from this world. The physical evidence didn't support Gina either. The receipts for items seemingly used to cover up the crime were still intact, serving as damning evidence against her. However, the most surprising element in this story was Sunny's reaction. After Gina contacted her and explained that it was all a misunderstanding, that the police were trying to make Sunny believe her sister wanted to harm her, Sunny seemed to accept this explanation. She didn't believe Gina had plotted to kill her, thinking her sister just wanted to threaten her to get her belongings back from the apartment. The story of the Sunny and Gina Han twins quickly became the center of media attention. The press painted a stark contrast between the two. Sunny was portrayed as the kind-hearted sister, neatly dressed with long straight hair, appearing in court in a well-tailored suit, while Gina was depicted as the villain, a criminal addicted to gambling and always envious of her sister. However, Sunny's reaction surprised many. Instead of harboring resentment, she stood by her sister's side, even asking the judge to be lenient with Gina. This action was initially seen as a noble expression of sisterly love, but later became a subject of controversy. Sunny was criticized for allegedly trying to profit from her own tragic story. She hired a manager to handle media relations and interviews, even spending $10,000 to organize her own television interview. There were also rumors that Sunny was trying to sell the rights to her story for several $100,000 to have it adapted into a film. By the third day of the trial, Sunny's appearance had changed dramatically. She appeared confused, stuttering, without makeup, and seemingly lacking the strength to testify. The main reason was believed to be extreme stress. Gina, on the other hand, remained confident that she wouldn't be imprisoned for long. She thought she could persuade the judges, especially since her own sister had said she didn't believe Gina would try to kill her. However, the judges had evidence of the receipts for items they had purchased at the supermarket. All these items pointed to preparation for a crime. Finally, the court sentenced Gina to 25 years in prison. Her accomplice Archie was sentenced to 16 years, while John received an 8-year sentence. Dear viewers, the heartbreaking story of Sunny and Gina is not just a simple criminal case, but a profound lesson about the importance of family foundation in shaping one's life. A strong family is not just a place to return to, but also the foundation for building a better society. And that's the story for today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss other intense cases. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.